around the water side. I love the fish, we get them every day. Kinjiming around the water side. Love the fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the water side. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the water side. Can you meet around the water side? Love the fish, we get them every day. Can you meet around the water side? Love the fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get a bunga fish, you better take a walk to the water side. So if you wanna get a bunga fish, you better take a walk to the water side.
Welcome, 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 Samson to Liberia Public Radio, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We say thank you, thank you. Many of you on here already. We say thank you, welcome. We're going to be a very interesting show here again tonight. As usual, when we have Mr. Nyanue on here, there's lots and lots of enjoyment in terms of conversation. We're truly going to enjoy ourselves again here tonight. Safety, Lord Jesus, we want to thank you again this evening for bringing us here together. Lord, we ask you to continue to provide a blanket of love, blanket of safety, blanket of protection that you have provided for us throughout. Lord, we also want to thank you again this evening for giving us the opportunity to be here again. Lord, you're the only vaccine we have. You're the Father for all of us. And we ask you to continue to protect us. We ask you to continue to give us wisdom. My Lord Jesus, we're here again tonight to have a conversation. Lord, we ask you to guide us. Whatever comes out of your mouth, our mouth here again tonight, Lord, it should be something of praises. And we want to thank you. Lord, you know, we Liberian diaspora, we have two tables. One table here and one table back home. Where we here in the diaspora decide we're going to be putting food here and back home. But the opportunity that you have provided for us, giving us that grace to do that, we ask you to continue to help us so that we will continue to provide for our brothers and sisters back home. Lord, we ask you to bless the country, Republic of Liberia. Bless the leaders of the Republic of Liberia. Give them wisdom to do what is good for our people. Lord Jesus, we ask you to bless the host country, the United States of America. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay, folks, we're here again with Mr. William Nyanue, who's going to be giving us a wonderful conversation this evening. And we will just go ahead and start we're about 5 minutes or so late, but you're with us. You're our brothers and sisters. We're all together. So let's start the conversation here. Let me bring in Mr. Nyanue here this evening. Mr. Nyanue, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Again, folks, at this point, we don't need to introduce. Mr. Nyanue is here with us. Mr. Nyanue is a leader in our community, political leader, of course, and also, when I say political leader, he's a politician, but he's a community leader. He's also a professional civil engineer who has worked in this area for a very, very long time. Mr. Nyanue, welcome, and I really appreciate you coming on with us again tonight. Let's have fun together. Is there any kinds of opening statement from you that perhaps you want to do?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me. I think this is either the third or fourth time I've been on your show.
Yes.
And I just want to let you know I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We appreciate you being on here as well. So, Mr. Nyanue, first thing first, we will go into other area, but you being an engineer, and I thought that perhaps we try to start the conversation from that perspective. But before we do that, let me go back to Granjida a little bit. Were you able to, did you have the opportunity to watch the debate today in Zwadru?
No, not really. I just got some photos from there. Pre-debate, I saw 3 persons, right. But I didn't see the actual debate.
Right. I was going to try to watch it later because I was at work when the feed came in. and I couldn't leave. We've been having meeting all day, and I couldn't leave to watch that as well. So I'm hoping that I will do that later on. But I thought it was very interesting. But what do you
Mm.
even make of it to see young Nigerians are now gravitating towards exchanging idea publicly without having some sort of a commotion coming out of it? And the little bit that I watched, the moderator was pretty much in charge, controlling the crowd, making sure that the crowd don't come in clapping and yelling and screaming if one person, whoever they're supporting speaks. And so I thought that was very mature of them. But what do you, if that's something, if it's, is that something perhaps if you were to be in Liberia and have the opportunity to interact with these young people, is that something that you would encourage more?
I think it's a very good thing. Something, when we ran last year, we had a similar thing. We had a debate. I think these are all positive signs for Liberia, that these things are beginning to happen in the country. I mean, political debates were usually just held, I mean, in the streets and somebody's backyard. But now that we are really having formal debates, I think it's a good thing. And because it's new, it hasn't caught on yet. Because the by-election in Grand Jury, I think there are about maybe 6 or 7 persons that are contesting. And today I only saw 3 persons. I mean, the photos they sent me were 3 persons at that debate. Maybe the other people came later on. When we had our own debate, the same thing. I think we started out being 3, and then towards the end, 1 person came, so we were 4. But that election, we were 9 that were contesting. So 5 persons just stay away. But I know over time, you know, it will get attraction. The other thing that, because these debates are being moderated by the press union of Liberia, so there's a press union team in Grand Jide that moderated this particular debate. I mean, I saw the preparation they were doing. And it was not only in Grand Jide, it was throughout the county where they were having, I mean, the country where they were having by-election. The thing that I'm hoping that they will begin to measure is the impact of these debates. Do these debates really have impact? Do they change minds? Do people really go to this debate anticipating to hear something that will make them sway one way or the other? Or are they just shows that people go and to go and watch? I'm hoping that over time, it will be the format that people really go to this debate wanting to hear people who are contesting, what their visions are.
I see. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but this is like Brown Public Radio, and I think you're big enough to handle whatever questions I throw at you here tonight. But have you been contacted uh, from any camp seeking your endorsement, seeking your involvement with them, and what have you? Have you been contacted by any of the candidates because this is also your district, if I may say so, because
Mhm.
this is a Chin district and you're from that district. Have any of these young people contacted you and hoping that you would lend them a hand or some sort of advice or what have you?
I've had few calls. I've had few persons talk to my people, um, trying to reach out to me for help. I mean, no one has asked for endorsement directly, but few persons have asked if I will help them in their campaign, which I have done. I mean, whatever little I have, I try to share it to help. Yeah, but none of them, came directly to me to ask for endorsement.
So let's go a little bit into it. I know they have surrogates, and I know these young people nowadays with their day and their social media. From what you have gathered so far, who perhaps you think express an idea or express willingness to actually move that district to the level at least that it should be on by now? Which one of them among these young candidates perhaps you think have that kinds of insight or the willpower to actually move the district to another level?
You know, to be fair to all of them that are running, I don't know them sufficiently to make that kind of call. And I really haven't seen any publication, say by way of platform or vision statement, to enable me to make that kind of call. You know, I know for some of these people, they've run before. So the people of Grand Jida, I think, have an idea who they are, but I really don't know them sufficiently to be able to make that kind of call.
I see. Okay, folks, I'm talking with Mr. William Nyanue, who's going to be with us there for some time this evening. And we're going to be now switching a little bit. Mr. Nyanue, let's talk about you being an engineer, and perhaps you will help my audience to understand some of the engineering aspect of specifically the road issues in Grand Jida County, specifically my own town. We have the picture I just put out. This is between Toll Town and Sesto River. But the first one is particularly at Tawing, which is Kaya which is another 2-3 miles before you get to the river. I know this place here because I know that bush very well, because that bush is always hanging over the bridge of Ta. But you have these people, these roads are pretty much, you can't go through them like that. And first of all, let's discuss if you can help me to discuss on why you think this is like this. I know it's the war damaged a lot of stuff, but we have success of government. We have 12 years of the Unity Party led government. Now we have 2.5 or so of CDC, and yet still the southeastern road, specifically from Ganta all the way on that side. Why are they so difficult to move the needle in terms of road development in our area, Mr. Nyanue? What do you think that is?
I mean, something we can talk engineering, you know, and talk about the fact that, you know, the material, the road surface that vehicles have been riding on for several years now is just, you know, it's just clay, and you're in highway, so, you know, clay material just has to rain and then everything is mud. But, you know, I don't want to focus on engineering. I really don't. I don't want to focus on engineering.
Okay.
You know, last September, I was going to Zwedru, and then when we got to Ganta, the vehicle we were carrying had a mechanical problem. My driver took it to the shop there. They tried to fix it, and the guy said, in the end, don't even try to take this vehicle on that road. If you do it, that will be the end of the vehicle. And I had to get to Zwedru. So we decided we were going to call Zwedru and call our team there to take some motorbikes and come and get us. So the young kids, they drove through the night. They rode through the night, and they got to Ganta around maybe, I think, 10 o'clock or so. And then after they had something to eat, they rested a little bit. Then we got on the motorbike around 12. Because I had to go to Zwedru to register to come back to Monroeville to complete my paperwork with the National Elections Commission. So we started from Ganta around 12 o'clock in the day, and it was rainy. And we met people on the road, business people with young children, and some of them had been on the road for a few days. And I remember we got to this spot, and I had to get down from the motorbike and to walk. And there were a group of people that were walking too. They got down from their vehicles and they were walking through the mud to get to the other side and to wait for the vehicle. And then one of them was complaining. He said, look at our lawmakers. They didn't want got us in this mess. You know, and I said to him, are you sure it's your lawmakers? He said, yeah, why we elected them for? I said, but what are you doing? right? The thing that frustrates me, something, my driver just came from Zwedru. It took him 6 days to go from Zwedru to Town. It took him 9 days to go from Zwedru to Blodiala. And when he sent me the pictures and he and I talked on the phone, I was so angry. But here's a question I asked myself. What are the people in the Southeast doing? They've accepted this condition. They've accepted it. I don't know if it can happen in any other country where people are being treated like this and they are just complacent. Other places, they will make the Capitol building in Monrovia report from the Southeast will be there demonstrating every day. No, but the people in the Southeast in Liberia, they're just sitting down, they're complacent. If it take them 2 weeks, 4 weeks to get there, well, the dry season will come. So it makes me angry. To me, this is criminal. This is really criminal. Because I tell you, that night when we were going on our motorbike,
when you say criminal, on who part? Who is
the government? Who is supposed to fix the road? Who is supposed to fix the road? And the people who are in government, many of them are not people who were born in the 80s or 90s. A lot of them are older than that. And they know that road there, we plied that road throughout the year before the war. And how is it that they feel so comfortable that year in, year out, the people in the Southeast go through this mess as if they don't care? It's criminal. And the leaders we have in the Southeast, I want to challenge them tonight. Why did your people elect you? Why? You think the only way to fix that road is to pave it? Was that road paved before 1980 in the 70s? Was the road paved?
No.
How is it that they are sitting down there in Monrovia and thinking that the only solution for our people is to pave the road? So they are waiting for pavement. That's criminal. To me, it's criminal. Well, I was telling you that night when we were going to Zwedru, there was a young man. I don't know if he was young, but I think he was young. He was riding a motorbike, a commercial motorbike. And I think he had 3 persons on the motorbike. But there was a young boy, maybe 9 years old, maybe 10 years old. They were in front of us. And that night, it rained so heavily, the whole road was covered with water, that section. And before us, the guy just lost control of the motorbike and they flipped. And everybody fell. And then my driver, the young man who was riding me said, Papi, one small boy on our motorbike. I said, no, that means so adult. He said, no, one small. I think I saw one small boy. So I said, you go there. Samson, the labor under the water. You were under the water. They had to go pull him out. What would have happened that night if we were not near them? That child probably would have died. So how is it that our people don't get angry and respectfully and peacefully go to their government and say, you got to do something about this? How? To me, it's criminal.
I agree, Mr. Nyanue. And I also, being an engineer, of course, in a road business, I've been pretty much at this point, you can say that I've been begging. And I think you and I have that conversation before. Everything that I do in terms of Liberian government and Grand Gita Road and things like that, I've always bring that to your attention. And for some reason, I don't know why they're refusing for work. I mean, for help. You don't need asphalt for you to have a better road. And like you correctly stated, that road was people have been driving on that thing since before I was even born. And all up to the time of the war. But one of the things when I went home that was very much depressing for me, places like Secretary, a town where people that I know, highly educated, smart people, intelligent people that I know, and are from most of them from Secretary. Okay, the Nima people are not people. I'm not talking war or whatever, but I mean on the intellectual level. But to see Secretariat, that when you're coming from Grand Gillette those days when I was young, and you're getting towards Secretariat, people in an entire bus, oh, we're getting to Secretariat. The excitement. Because Secretariat was a place to stop and get your little kobo, your mom get your little kobo and things like that. And when I was going towards Grand Gillette at that one time, I saw Secretariat, they approaching the city, and saw a ditch running in the middle of the street.
Mm-hmm.
A ditch that's supposed to be on the side of the road. It's in the middle of the street.
Mm-hmm.
And these people, like you correctly stated, these people are not people that just come lately. Why were they not demanding that these things be fixed?
Because something, I think one of the reasons is because today they don't have the institutional arrangement. They destroy the institutions. And again, to me, that's really my disappointment when I talk to people. Public Works was not reconstituted, even if you're going to change their mandate, even if you're going to change their structure. But it was not reconstituted in a way that will enable it to do some of the stuff, some of the things that you're saying. You know, when Madame Sali was president of Liberia, she had a lot of challenges. And, you know, I was there from 2013 until 2017 when her term was over. And I will go on that Zwedru road and I'll get to Zwedru and people there will be worrying that the rainy season is coming and that they will suffer again. So I will come to Moray and call somebody at Public Works. One of my neighbors was an assistant minister at Public Works. And I will came and they say, oh, Mr. Nyanue, don't worry, we have people on the road. And they try. After every rainy season, there was some contractor on that road that did some work. But something, the last 3 years, the young man who drives for me when I'm in Liberia, that boy, they call him the king of the road. No matter how bad that road is, he will manage to get through. I've never been with that young man, you know, for him driving and for me to sleep on the road. He will get through. He told me, he said, Pabe, he said they won't beat my time this time. 6 days when his car got to Total, the pictures he sent me, he had to basically, you know, disassemble all the bearing, all that stuff was gone. He's mechanical. So he was able to make it. 6 days from Zwedru to Total? How?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Mr. Nyanue. I mean, and, you know, in as much as I don't want to get into the engineering aspect of it, there are so many things in that area that are very simple. Right in the same area that I just showed you, that was a place they have the dirt that filled that area up, came from that same area on the side of it. When they did, I didn't recognize it, that was where they dug the mountain up until, I mean, at this now I know. But when I was little, every time they call it Tukrobli, every time we get there, and I will ask my father, why is this place just a, you know, because when we go to Bogota, sometimes we go play football on that side because the place is just so bare, rocks, you know, little rocks, because they dug the dirt out of there and filled the road because that whole section is the swampy area. And now I see now why they filled the road up. So basically, the area have reduced itself back to what it was when they built that road.
But and the sad thing is something, you know, in road construction, the strength of a gravel road is the gravel content of the road, right? So when you doing road construction, and you know, I tell you, we don't want to go into engineering because, you know, a lot of people listening to this thing, you know, I'm sure don't have engineering background. But the particular place that you are talking about, you know, in the industry, they call those places borrow pits. Right? They are borrow pits. You see the soil on the road is not conducive. So they go borrow good soil to come and build up the bad spots. My wife and I were going to Zwedru. I don't remember now, maybe 2014. And that rainy season, or maybe 2013, I don't know, maybe 2014. That rainy season, Pellet Town was the spot that they were killing all the vehicles that were going to Zwedru. Vehicles were stuck there. So our guy again managed to get through. And then when we're coming back, then they have one contractor on the road fixing that spot. And I told my wife, this work that they are doing, come next dry season, this spot will be just like it was this, this rainy season. And why? Because all they were doing something, they were filling in. No, they were not grading. They were actually bringing in material. But the material they were bringing was so low in gravel, it was all clay, right? Just clay. So what do you think when it rains again? So they didn't have, the government didn't have anybody on the road, first of all, to say, here's the quality of material you should use to fix the road, right? And then make sure they use that quality of material, go through the gradation so that you have the content of gravel that is necessary to make sure you have a gravel riding surface. They just put in a bunch of clay. They just put in anything that is near there. They did the same thing going to my own town, to our town. And I said, this place, next rain season will be like that. Peloton is worse this year. It's one of the worst places on the road. And you see, it took this, my driver.
Yeah, that's the Peloton, right?
Yeah, the Peloton, it took them 3 days to go from Tour Town to Blodiala. 3 days. They spent a night at Peloton. It's all clear. And what is making it really bad now is because they have not done anything after rainy seasons, the last 2 rainy seasons, the road gets progressively worse, and the work that needs to be done now to rehab the road is much, much more than if they had done something after every little rainy season. I mean, the picture you just had on your screen, look at how deep that place is.
Yeah,
and look at all the mud. Now, if you really want to fix it, you have to go clear all that mud.
All of that has to be removed.
You got to clear and then bring in, the right material to fill it back up. It's much more expensive now than it would have been if they had done it, a few years ago. So to me, it just makes me angry. I'm planning to go back home, right? I'm going back home next month. I didn't intend.
The question is, you going to fly? Because the road is impossible.
No, that's what I'm saying now, because I was going to go stay in Monrovia a few days or maybe a week or so, because I got some work to do in Monrovia, and then go to Granchi there. The young man was telling me, he said, Mr. Nyanue, don't think about going to Granchi there. He said, when you come, you got to stay in Monrovia for a good while before you can go to Granchi there. He said, I'm not even going to try to put any of your vehicles on the road again. No. The vehicle he took this time was not mine. Actually, there were 2 vehicle convoy that went, and they went to do some work in River G, I think for the University of Liberia. So it wasn't my vehicle, but he said, Papi, I'm not going to try to even put your vehicle on the road. So the only way you can go now, if you're not going on motorbike, is to fly. But then what do you do when you get a range there? When you fly, what do you do?
So let me ask you this. You think, because, sometimes it's very difficult to understand. Milton Chegi, who is a senator from Sino as well, I know him. He went to school here, and we met in Kent State University. And he's a very, very, very talented, very smart man at the time. He's still smart. He's senator. We have senator from Granjida. We have senator, Coleman Wisse, who won jail just for talking for people. And these people are unable to understand the importance of providing a drivable road for our people. Do you think they're just sitting there and not actually paying attention to the road condition, or that's something that they themselves also have accepted? The fact that the road bad right now, what that rainy season, when you drive road will be better. Is that the kind of mentality they all have now? You think?
I don't like to second guess people, because all these people you're talking about, they are highly intelligent people. I mean, coming in with an hour at the University of Liberia, I would call him a friend. Milton Tiaji and I worked together at Warden Sewer. He was one of our managers. He was GSA manager. I was manager for the engineering department. So I know these people. They are intelligent people. One of the promises I made during when I was running my campaign was that had I won, one of the things that I was going to do is to bring these people together, bring these senators and representatives together from the Southeast and say, how can we act in concert to help our people to make sure this rainy season that road didn't close? I think a lot of people are just resigned to the fact that the government doesn't have money, so this thing here will take a long time. So why bother? And to me, they gave themselves a false choice. The choice they are giving themselves is spend millions of dollars to pave the road or leave it like that. And after every rainy season, dry season will come and the people will get a loan. That's a false choice. That's not all the choices you have. There can be intermediate solutions that can make the road passable. And there's, because when you look at the roads now, it's not just the fact that the base is gone. It's also the fact that there's no drainage.
Yep.
There's nowhere for the water to go.
Mhm.
Even when they say, during Madam Salif time, when they used to do that thing, and I'm driving in that road and I see the repair work that they were doing, I'm saying to myself, how? Because all you're doing is you're creating a reservoir so that when it rains, the water
Like a dam.
it's sitting there. There's nowhere for it to go. So I think people are just resigned to the fact that this thing is expensive and government doesn't have the money. I think
But
that.
Mr. Nyanue, I don't mean to
Yes,
interrupt.
I'm just guessing.
I don't mean to interrupt. These people, they have county development fund, and some of them have used those county development fund to buy earth-moving equipment. So basically, to do those kinds of work, the only thing most likely you're going to spend money if you're not going to pave it will be material. Yeah, you can spend money on it based on labor and stuff like that, but it's not like you're going to go like you do here when you have contractor come to do your roadway. They have to charge for the material because you have the quantity and things like that. There, I don't believe you can do that. So basically, the most area that they're going to spend money is the fuel. But these people should be able to go to some of the construction companies that are doing work in those areas, because the logging company also help to damage the road.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make that case to the logging company without accusing them of being reckless. If you go out and explain to them and point it out to the logging company, the weight of the logs on the 6-wheeler or 8-wheeler, whatever amount of wheeler they have, and tell them and show them the chart of the weight of a truck, how the weight is distributed on the road. If you show these people these kinds of technical stuff, they might be a little bit technical, but some of them will get it. Mm-hmm. And they will be willing to help because they themselves, if the road is bad, they can't move their material. Mm-hmm. So, but if you make these people, the logging company and everybody else, if you make them to be part of the solution, I think we'll get along with. But I don't know. I really don't know what is going on with our politician back home.
Well, you said, people say, if you're not in your friend's shoes, you don't know how it pinches that person. So they may have their own challenges that you and I, because we are not in their shoes, that we probably cannot appreciate. But to me, at a minimum, these people should come and tell their people what they are doing to make their condition better. Certainly, that road is a national road. It's supposed to be maintained by the national government. But can the people of Nima, Lower Nima, Grand Jide, River G, Sando, can they work together to do something? Can they not do that? Whether it means them coming together and going to the president of the Republic of Liberia and say, Mr. President, our people are suffering and public work has to do something this dry season. Or if it means pulling their equipment so that they can do something on the road.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly.
But you're not hearing anything. What if they are doing something, we don't hear it?
No.
And that what frustrates me.
And I think our brothers and sisters that are going through this horrible condition, they also are very patient people.
No, they're
I
not
don't-
patient, something. They're not patient. And that's, I am patient with them too. They're not patient. They are docile. That word, they are docile. For whatever reason, they've just been cowered into silence. This is not what you call being patient. They've just been
well,
cowered
I'm
into
trying to be
patience.
diplomatic about it. I understand. I understand your frustration, Mr. Nyan, because I think if the people demand, it doesn't matter what country, what area, if the people demand certain things, the politician will have to listen.
Yeah.
It
And then
doesn't
you
matter
see,
what
come, I'm not cutting you off. When it's getting close to 2023, you see what will be happening in the country. You will be running here and there trying to do this project and do that project. And our people buy that bid. They buy it. These people keep you down, for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Then 1 or 2 years to election time, then they kind of say they're doing this project and doing the project. Then our people will start singing and I saw one of the candidates the other day in Zwedru say he fixing one of the streets in Zwedru.
yeah,
All this time,
yeah.
he's now, yeah, he has the means now to go fix it. When I was there, because that's what our people expect, we'll go and carry chairs here and cement here and this thing and that thing there. And our people they have not gotten to the point to see beyond these things that people use just to bribe you and to, as it were, fool you, right?
But then the question there, Mr. Nyano, is when do we get there? How do we get there? How do we get these young people that are, in fact, for me, I think we have two sets of young people in I would say, Grand Gita. We have those that are sophisticated, educated, and sophisticated enough to be able to align themselves with politicians who has nothing much to offer than to just a token, cup of rice, bag of rice, baby top, all those kinds of good things that you heard about during the election. And there are those young people that will push that line to the rest of the people to say this man is good, giving you scholarship, forgetting to know that this man cannot get scholarship for the entire population. So once he gets in office, what happened to the rest of the brothers and sisters? So the question now that I have for you, Mr. Young, before we move on to the next subject, how do we get there? And what are some of the solutions to get our people to understand that this is not how you should live? You should strive for better, not only for yourself, but for your children. But it seemed to me, and I could be wrong, it seemed to me that our brothers and sisters back home are just satisfied because some of their brothers and sisters here in the diaspora send money. And so the government will come, my brother will send me something to buy my children's school fee. I mean, pay my children's school fee and buy my children uniform, stuff like that. And we ourselves here also in the diaspora, we fall into that. But of course, you have no choice. You yourself, as a refugee at one time, have gone through suffering. So if your brother or sister calls you and say, "I'm going through problem right now," you don't even ask question. You just automatically put yourself in that position because you've been in there, and so you do whatever you have to do. So, Mr. Yano, I'm wondering, how do we get there? What are some of the things we need to do to get there, you think?
Good question, Samson. At least for Grand Gita, what I thought we needed to do, that was what I articulated when I was running. I tried to explain what I thought Grand Gita was and why Grand Gita was where it was, and then what I thought we needed to do. Apparently, that message didn't get through to sufficient number of persons to then act on it. So that is the $1 million question in Liberia. How do we go from where we are to where we need to be? Because I was talking to a friend, a few nights ago, and he said, "Bill, where our people are today," he said, "our people are in survival mode, right? When they wake up in the morning, excuse me, when they wake up in the morning, What preoccupies their thought is how to survive that day. And, you know, I mean, that article I wrote that you're talking about, I said, when we were growing up, you know, things were hard. Things were really hard. I mean, I was one of the fortunate ones who lived on a dormitory at University of Liberia. But when I left, when I graduated from LU, I think I was left maybe 125 pounds or so. I had lost so much weight, you know. But at that time, you had hope that after graduation, you will get a job and you will make little money. For us that were doing engineering, the guys that graduated before us, the first graduates, they got a ministry of polo, all of them have pickups. They had a hard hearts. And they every now and then they'll come to engineering school and will be motivated. You know, when I graduate too, I will get my pickup. When we graduated, we got jobs. You know, my friends and I, you know, I think we were 4 or 5 that went to the Liberia Water and Sword. They gave us time, you know, to celebrate our graduation, and we went to work. What's happening in Liberia now is even when you go to school and you get a degree, a lot of kids don't get jobs. They don't. They can't find employment. So even the hope to say, okay, sacrifice and get your education, that doesn't work anymore. Right? So you have these kids who have graduated from university who can't get jobs. And so how do they survive? They go the political route. You become a surrogate of some politician, and that's how you survive. Those of them that are going to school, that's how you get your school fees paid. The way for us to move from where we are to where we need to go, at least to begin to get on that road, to me, is through education. You know, or if by right now I would say by divine intervention, because everybody now is hopeful that 2023, the result of 2023 will transform Liberia, right? Depending on who wins. And if you look at it closely in Liberia, what is happening is a lot of the young people are saying, you know, if CDC leaves power, you know, if in 2023, say UP wins, the young people who are supporting UP now, they are saying if UP should win, then all the position will be vacant. Then we will get job. No, ANC people will be saying the same thing. If ANC should win, then all the government position will be vacant. And that's why CDC did. When they won, they fired everybody. They told all the people at the top, let the personnel manager or somebody take. So all the government positions were vacant. Then they were bringing their people. So instead of us to expand our economy, make the economy work better, close all the leakages we have in the economy where money is just seeping through. All we are doing now is I want my men to win so I can get a job. And the other people who may win, they got to wait for their time. That's where we are in Liberia. And unless we educate our people to see that there's a possibility that we can make the pot bigger so more people can get, unless we are able to do that, then we will continue to suffer for quite some time.
Well, that's a very good launching place here. We can come from there and go to another section, which is the political party, the collaborating political party. And I know you also been keeping up with that. But before we get there, how's your book?
You know, my book it's coming along. I mean, I got a few friends who are reviewing it. My schedule right now is, you know, I'm thinking of publishing it sometime next year. I don't know whether it's the first quarter or the second quarter, but you know, I'm done with the first draft, and I'm having some friends of mine review it.
But let me ask you this: you being a technical person, is the book going to be technically savvy on that, or is going to be socially more involved?
No, it's about Liberia. The title of the book, what I have now, I mean, maybe when it goes to the editor and thing and publisher, maybe the title might change. The title of the book is, I think, the remaking of a nation, the case for Liberia. So it's all of this thing that we are talking about. Because what is the ultimate solution for Liberia? You know, that's the question that I am exploring in the book. And my thesis in the book is that Liberia's redemption lies in filling the leadership vacuum. If you don't fill that leadership vacuum, we cannot redeem Liberia. Because we Liberians, something, we are being conditioned by our history. And that's why I was talking about our people being docile, right? We've been conditioned by our history to behave certain kind of way. So, for example,
People would say that not conditioned by history, but conditioned perhaps based on culture. Well, you're not.
it's not just culture. No, not just culture. For example, why are the people in the Southeast, why are they now up in arms about this road situation that we're talking about? Because our people develop a survival mechanism that they are afraid of government. You see, when our people used to, way back in the time, my father was a chief. And I know what they used to do with people with the tax thing.
Yeah, I remember
You know,
that.
when those soldiers got in the town, you didn't pay your taxes, you're in trouble. They will kill your animals, carry your chicken, beat up people. And they got to the place where our people were afraid of the government. In fact, in the 70s, when somebody like me, every now and then, my mom will hear me talk about government, she'll say, little people think alone. Tell you want daddy. So that's the survival mode that so for example, I remember when I was at University of Liberia, I was president for the Grand University student, and they made one of our sons from Grand there, I think assistant minister at
was it Dr. Trouble Bahar?
I'm not gonna call him. I'm not calling
most likely Dr. Bullet.
No, not that. I'm not calling him. I'm just saying one of our sons. They made him assistant minister.
Okay.
And then the leaders of Grand Judah called a meeting. And they invited me as leader of the students in the meeting. And what they wanted us to do was to write a statement to go to the president to say thank you for making our son assistant minister.
That trouble. Why?
And then I said, I was the youngest in the room, way younger than those people, and I said, why? Why do we have to go tell the president thank you? Whoever he appointed the president because he felt the president was qualified. They were bringing something to his government. I said, when was the last time you saw them appointing a Dennis or a Deshiel or this person, and then the community is rallying and carrying statement of support and thank you? They don't do it. So we feel that the way Liberia has been for a long time, our people tend to think that when the government does something for them, it's a favor. It's government benevolence. Government is doing them a favor. They don't feel that they are entitled to certain things. So when the government comes and build school, they say, you got to thank the government. But it's the government's responsibility to get your children.
Mr. Nyanue, then we're in trouble. If what you're saying, which is for me is true, then it'll be difficult to get out. Because now you have these young people, not just CDC, ANC, Unity Party, WBB, whatever party. You have these young people that are just geared to be a praise singer without even challenging the political leader.
But they can't. Right now, they cannot because that's how they survive.
Yeah, but then the survival mode is going to continue.
No, so that's why I'm saying the solution is leadership. So let's say, for example, every time I come on your show, I use this word, but I can't think of any other word. Let's say, for example, the leadership in Monrovia today has an epiphany. They just wake up tomorrow morning and they say, wow, our country is in a mess. We got to do this and we got to do that. Once that leadership sets the tone, the country will change. It will change. And it's that leadership that is lacking something. That's what I'm saying. That's the proposition of my book. That leadership has been lacking in Liberia for a long time. You put that kind of leadership in place where the leader say, I don't tolerate corruption. You see, that's why I saw the other day, all of the hoopla about this young man who found a $50,000 in return aid, and he's been rewarded. I was really surprised that the president did what he did, because the president seemed genuinely happy that this young man was honest and he was able to do it. Just imagine the president was doing that to his cabinet, right? Why if the president was sending that message to all the people in his cabinet to say, I don't tolerate corruption, that will be a different place. And because we haven't had that leadership for a long time, that's the leadership that we need. So the burden falls on you, it falls on me, it falls on all the people who talk about Liberia. How do we bring about that kind of leadership? That's a conversation we really need to have.
Mr. Nyanue, it's fine, good point. But then again, my thing is the length of time it's gonna take for us to reach to that level, because you have Dr. Bakai, you have Honorable Cummings, you have all of these political leaders, my own political leader, Madam Yamri Kanga. You don't hear these kinds of conversations from them, and also you have these young people that are around them who also seem to be mentored by these same people. Yes. So if you're going to be mentoring somebody without this kinds of idea, then how do we get there? For example, over there in I think it's Taiwan, Singapore. There was a leader over there in Singapore, and there was a guy that was narrating his story. He said when this guy Lee Kapu, something I'm forgetting.
Lee Kuan Yew.
When he came to power, he decided, friends or no friends, relative or no relative. If you commit a corrupt act, you're going to serve the time. We will prosecute you. He said after he started putting people in jail, everybody started getting in line. It doesn't mean you have to go put people on the South Beach on the port to shoot them for people to get in line. But then again, let me go back to my original point that I'm making. And that is, all of these people that are supposed to be politically experienced and supposed to mentor young people for the next generation, and you don't hear any of these kinds of conversations. And many of these young people are saying, just like correctly what you're saying, well, when our time comes, all of those people, they will leave and we will take over. Forgetting to know that those people, even if they're sedition, they are also they're also experiencing on that job. They have the experience now. If you come in, you need some sort of a transitional period. You can't just come in because you think your PhD to just jump into something and think it's going to work. It most likely not going to work right away. So if you have these kinds of mentality, Mr. Nyanue, then I think we have a long way to go. I think you're going to have to write another chapter, 2 or 3 from after you release your book. Another one to come out, perhaps that will help us out.
But here's the thing, though, Samson, you're right about it. Because you see, the way we've been trying to solve Liberia's problem since maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Particularly since the war ended, we've been in Liberia has been in flux, really. Since the coup, we have not gotten our balance back. But I think the way we've been approaching Liberia's problem is on an emergency basis, right? So everybody thinks of the next election. See, right now in Liberia, everybody thinks of 2023. And after 2023, you're not going to hear any serious work again until the next election is approaching. So the people who are leading the political process in Liberia, they don't seem to think beyond one election cycle, right? They are now articulating a vision that is long-term. Why is Liberia in the situation that is into because the people are corrupt. But why are the people corrupt? Why are the people corrupt, right? Can you answer that question? Can they answer that question? Are the people just evil? There's a reason why people are corrupt, so how are you going to address it? So until we get out of the emergency mode, and that's why one of the suggestions that I'm making in the book is, first of all, if you look at all the political arrangements in Liberia, whether it's CDC or UP or ANC, all the political parties, what is it that holds them together? What is it? I have not seen in writing, maybe they have it, but I just haven't seen it, a vision statement, a set of core values, a set of shared vision that the people who are leading this party all aspire to, and say, this is our vision, here is what we believe, and here are the values that we espouse to. They don't have it. If they have it, I've not seen it. And because you have people who coalesce around an individual, you see, whatever vision they may have is not a vision of the collective. It's not a vision of a group of people. It comes from one person's head. And everybody around that one person, their substance, their importance, their relevance lie on that one person. Just remove that one person and then the thing will chakla.
But Mr. Nyanue,
So I am saying we need to get, that's the conversation we need to have. We need to have people who are serious about it, need to have a situation where we can bring like minds together, people that have the same values, about this political issue. Go ahead.
yes, and I will use myself, and I'm not going to call names, but I will use myself and a few other people as an
Okay. Can I call you back?
As an example. So
I'll text it to you.
So, as an example, so that at least people will understand some of the things you say. I agree with you. You need people that have the same mind, thinking pretty much the same. And the late Councillor Bronsky, I hope that thing you know very well, when he was going 2005, after 2005 election, the next election, when we were all involved, he used to seek the mind advices from different group, different people. And what do you think? What do you think? Because I was involved, but then there came a time. It came a time that when he went to Liberia, that thread of trying to seek advice from people who perhaps are not a praise singer started cutting. And so this last election, by the time the last election came about, you hardly had any conversation with Councillor Bronsky. I remember when they had the convention over in when they had the convention over in Lofa County, where they were giving the city hall, Vanyama City Hall, and later on denied the privilege of having the convention in there. LPR hosted them that night because we were on air, and Mr. Phyllis Swa was there, so he was able to help us with another young man called Solo, was able to help us to connect with him. So I was listening to most of the conversation that night. And that night, the conversation with Councillor Bronsky giving the speech and what have you, there was nothing, because before that, the Liberty Party, like Liberty Party USA, our group were able to come up with ideas from these different disciplines, engineer, medical field, whatever, doctors, lawyers, everyone have their own set of ideas that we put together. And we combine all of that, sent it to Liberia. They were never even read at the convention, which they said they were going to do. So the question then is, even if we have people like-minded, but as soon as they get closer to what they think will be the leadership, they try to kick you aside. And now go with people, for example, in our situation, there's no money, but they decide to gravitate towards people of musability. The rest, they like the musability, people that have money. But on the international setting, they didn't have, they have tinted character. Whether believe it or not, whether he has not been adjudicated to say he's found guilty, but those record was there. And so if you find yourself coming from this Councillor Bronsky that I had conversation with, and when we go to meetings, he sat there, and everyone in that meeting will have the opportunity to express themselves. And at the very end, he will come out and then try to put all of those ideas together to make one brilliant point. But when they got to Monrovia, all of those things went away, Mr. Nyanue. I mean, I don't have to call names and say X, Y. People know who I'm talking about, those people that were around. So how do we try to, first of all, when you get people like that, let's take, for example, almost Dr. Bakar, who has experience. But when the debacle that is happening now with the ANC and the CPP, with the debacle that's happening, starting with our own political leader, Liberty Party, there was no comment from any of these people. You would think that he, being the older person in the room, would take charge to say, this is not who we are, and this is not what we're about. But there was no comment, nothing. And we all watch how individuals from different areas try to insult other Liberians. And we sit here, and I think you yourself, at one time, you and I have this conversation. And you stated, Mr. Samson, if people know, you know me, but people who don't know me think that they know me, they start writing things about me. And you read it, and you don't make comment. Then you also contributing to whatever that person is saying, because you know who I am. So you don't have to go in there, as you will say, you don't have to go in there and start yelling from the top of the mountain, but say something. No, the other A, you say, maybe Mr. Nyanue is B, because I don't know about that, but I know about A. And none of us, I mean, the real people that were involved, not even people from CDC. This is not about party, political party issues. These are Liberians, political leaders who have worked hard to earn a character, and their character was being destroyed right before our own eyes, and none of us would say nothing. So I think Liberia is in more of a trouble than I think we can come up with ideas and things. But when you get out of that idea stage, not only going personal, but you start using language that are also in violation of our culture, Mr. Nyanue, then I think we have a serious problem in Liberia.
Well, it's something you're right on everything you said. My only, my only comment would be that I think that most of us Liberians, I don't think we are analyzing Liberia's difficulties. At least in my opinion, I don't think we are analyzing Liberia's difficulty in the right way. I mean, Councillor Bronson was my friend, peace be to his soul. He and I worked together for more than 10, 12 years, and I was very close to him. You know that I was very, very close to him. And I knew his heart. He had a good heart for Liberia. But the thing is something, we and Councillor Bronson were not equal. We were not equal. We were his supporters. And that is the political arrangement in Liberia today. Just imagine if Councillor Bromsky, Ellis Comey, General, Vice VP Boykai, and even former governor of the central bank. Just imagine if they're all in the same party. Just imagine they're all in the same party. But it can't happen in Liberia right now. It can't. Just imagine if Ellis Cummings and VP Boyka were in the same party. It can't happen. And that is the problem. So it's not just that you all have shared vision, but in the book, what I'm also seeing is that you people are equal. And when I say equals, I don't necessarily mean that you are equal in age. But something, just imagine you and I belong to the same organization. You're not paying my rent. You're not buying my food. You're not paying my children's school fee. I'm not doing it for you. Why will you take whatever Nyanue says? Why will I take whatever you say? We are independent people who are held together maybe just by the fact that we want to see Liberia be better. But I can live an independent life. You can live an independent life. That's not what we have in Liberia. People who have means, they get a lot of other people who have no means, and they are the only rooster to crow. You cannot challenge their view. If Vivi Boyka and Mr. Cummings were in the same party today, they would have been compelled to have a primary. They would have been forced to have a primary. But as it stands now, my prediction is, and I mean, I don't even think it, it's any rocket science again. UP will go its way with Mr. Ure ALP. Mr. Cummings will go his way, and then they'll probably split Liberty Party. The political leader and a group will go with VP Boyka, and maybe the chairman and a group will go with Ellis Cummings. They will split Liberty Party. And that is the argument that I'm making, because there are a lot of Liberians who are concerned about Liberia, just as you, myself, and other people. There are a lot of Liberians who are like that. The problem we are having is we haven't had the opportunity to bring those people together to create the critical mass to do the work that needs to be done in Liberia. Look at the University of Liberia. That's the example that I give. Look at the University of Liberia. So, when they say they're having election on the University of Liberia campus, first of all, the election is fair. Why? They are equal. Ain't nobody there, who got upper hand more than their friend. They are equal. In soup, if you say you want to be standard bearer for soup, you got to earn it. You got to earn it. And it's that condition that we have not created in Liberia. We just want to rally around people either out of popularity or because of their money, not because of the things that we have in common. I mean, right now, the people who are in opposition, the thing that motivates them is to defeat the government in power. It's not their ideas. It's not their vision.
But that's not enough.
It's not, but that's the point that I'm making. So unless we have this, because the conversation needs to be had at the national level, we need to have it. We need to have this conversation. Because, and the thing that I'm also seeing is that it's not enough for William Nyanue to say, the government, whoever is in leadership has to do this and that. William Nyanue must also live that vision. My life must be characterized by the things that I say. And if they're not, then I'm not going anywhere. Lee Kuan Yew that you were talking about, Lee Kuan Yew, there's a quote from his book that I like. And I say it's very insightful. His book from Third World to First. Lee Kuan Yew say, and that's why I differ with a lot of our people, a lot of academicians, people who've been in these political trenches for a long time, and who think Liberia's problem is structural. We need to do structural reform. People are saying, one of the reasons we're having this problem is that Liberia is overly centralized. We need to decentralize power. We need to elect our superintendent, right? We need to give power to the hinterland people. I agree with them. I think we need to do that. But that's not a solution to me. To me, that's something that comes afterwards. Lee Kuan Yew said in a book, he said, no matter how good a system is, right? Think about it. He said, no matter how good a system is, bad leaders will always bring suffering to their people. And just think about it, and people who may doubt it, I said, look at the United States today. This system here that we all admire, look at how much damage was done to it the last 4 years. The institution, a lot of the institutions were challenged. And that damage is perhaps not even over yet. Mm-mm. So I am saying, and personally, when you talk about Singapore today, Singapore is the epitome of all the good things that we can think about. Ghana, look at what's happening in Ghana. Look at what's happening in Sierra Leone. It's because of their leaders. And it's not enough to just have one leader. A good leader will always raise up other leaders. Because if you're a leader and you leave and the system collapses immediately after you, you're not a leader. John Maxwell said leadership is measured in legacy. And by legacy, it didn't mean how many roads you build, how many hospitals you build. It means that you created an environment for continuity, for sustainability. That's what we don't have. And that's the conversation we need to have at a national level in Liberia. How can we, who have the demonstrated record of being truthful to our character and our pronouncements, and who are genuinely concerned about Liberia's future, how can we come together? And coming together doesn't necessarily mean just coming to start a political party, but just come together initially to have a conversation. Have a conversation.
But then, Mr. Nyanue, let's come back here in the diaspora. Like I said, I've been around for a very long time. Been with all Eula, Folavo, all you name it. I've been around. The question then is, if the folks here themselves are not able to achieve what you just articulated here in the diaspora, where you have free will, there's not one person that dominates any kinds of social gathering in terms of political social gathering. But then yet still they are unable to somehow rally around this type of idea. We have ULA. And I'm not here to disparage anybody. But ULA for me is an organization where people go to help to be elected and then seek a greener pasture back home. Utilize ULA ability to bring people together. Instead, they use that to say they're going to find job back home. Because once you're president of ULA, the telephone line to the executive mansion is pretty much open. One. The second thing is the young Liberians here in the diaspora, highly educated, sophisticated as well. How do we get them? Because it's difficult. Because you're here, you get paid to do what you get your education and stuff like that. You work here and they pay you handsomely, no question asked. But at the same time, they're milking some of your strength that perhaps would have been utilized in Liberia. So by the time Liberian government focus on you to say perhaps you need to do X, Y, and Z, by that time, most of the talent that you have already utilized that kinds of talent here. You're getting a little bit older. You're not able to climb the mountain as much as you used to. Your physical ability has a little bit diminished. And at the same time, you go to work. At that time, by 7 o'clock, you're in bed sleeping. I'm not describing myself, folks. Please, I'm not describing myself. I'm just saying, because I know exactly. That's what Mr. Alfonso Zionso would say. Yo, he's talking about himself. But on a very serious note, Mr. Nyanue. So if we're not able to bring these young people together with the help of the government, that after perhaps having so much young people back home, you will use this CDC government, perhaps should have been one of the best to be used as a bridge between the diaspora, Liberian, and what is happening. Another thing also then, you will say, the young people that get over there, they also go and go steal. You know, and our people don't trust them. And they don't trust any of us anymore. Because to bring the young people on, instead of them stealing, working over there, is steal. And even if they don't steal anything, immediately after their term is over, they will leave. Why are you going back there when you're going to be leaving to come back here? So, Mr. Nyanue, for me, this is so much confusing. I don't know whether the people back home, they're right to reject us, or we're just not quite ready to get on board. I don't know, Mr. Nyanue. So,
Well,
but once again, I'm having a conversation with you. The best come out anyhow. So what do you think about
yes, what I think, something. And for me, maybe my experience is limited, but the limited experience I have has proven to me a lot of the things that I believe in life. I mean, being a president of a diaspora organization is minuscule compared to being president of Liberia, you know, or maybe even being a cabinet minister. But notwithstanding, you know, my experience working with people tells me that everybody likes a winner. Once people know that you're winning, everybody wants to be identified with you. You know the history, for example, of the Grand Association before I became president, right? They will go to one convention.
Yeah.
There will be dispute.
Mm-hmm.
People will argue, and then
I was in the thick of it.
then they will go maybe two years or so, nothing. Then they come back, they do reconciliation.
Yes.
You know, and you know, let me just digress a little bit. You know, I'm involved with my sectional group and the chain organization UTA, and I'm trying to encourage them because we are at that low point now too. We're trying to build back up. And the last meeting, the last teleconference that I attended, there was a smart young man. I mean, I don't know him, you know, I don't even remember his name. But at the end of the teleconference, the young man said, look, we took our time to come to this teleconference. And I've been going to the teleconferences for the last 5 months. And that was the first time I heard that young man. So he said, we took our time to come and attend these teleconferences. He said, so when we come, and the meeting just goes on and on and on and on and on and no end, chances are I would not want to come back. Right? So what's happening in the diaspora organizations is, for me, from our experience, is that a lot of the good people have decided to stay away. Because it's all just about noise. People want to show off, you know, no accountability. Even you go to a meeting, the meeting that should last for an hour lasts for 3 hours. So people stay away. Because when I became president of the Grand Association or something, you know, everybody came on board. People who were in this United States who didn't want to have anything to do with the Grand Association. You know, Annie Yule then came on board. Somebody much older than myself, Cecilia Toa, Reverend Toa, she came and agreed to be the treasurer the chaplain for our team. You know, a lot of people came on board. So the thing is that one of the challenges we have, and I know it's even among us, the educated Liberian people, we think that we can't learn from other people. We know it all. You know, so we are not able. I don't know an example. I mean, you talk about you. I don't know how, you know, a number of professional Liberian organizations there in the US. I don't know many. How do you run an organization in a way that it will attract quality? That is a challenge we have. So there are a lot of good people here who have just decided, you know, the Liberia thing here is just a waste of time. So I'm not even going to bother. But if you were able, you know, to start running a serious Liberian organization, you will see all these people coming from the woods. And the thing is, you're talking about, you know, young Liberians living from here and go to Liberia, and, you know, when time over, they run back here. I mean, I identify with that. I was in Minnesota the other day, and I saw a lot of the young people who were in government. They were all in Minnesota. They had come back home. You know, now, I mean, it would be good to have a conversation with them because I'm sure they have their reason, right? Because if you know, your term in government is over and you are in Monrovia and nobody cares for you, you know, you're not in any position to make any contribution. Why you end up saying, you know, what to use? I should go back, right? Because the mentality in Liberia is, this is our time, and the people whose time it is not are left out. So what do? Do they sit down and say, okay, I'm going to wait for my time? Yes, a lot of the young people say they will wait for their time because they don't have options. If they have options, they will leave. I mean, there's some of the young people who are working with me, they say, Mr. Nyanue, I just want to get out of here. When you win all I want, they say, I want job. I just want to get out of here. Right? So that is the challenge we have. Something, to me, I don't think there's a shortcut to our solution. I think I'll talk to an elderly gentleman. He's in his 80. He told me he's in his 80. He was in Tobruk government, high up. He was a minister, and he was telling me his own struggle. And you're saying how he thought that it's going to take several years before Liberia can be stabilized. So we have a long way to go. As long as we are thinking election cycles, then we're not even beginning to deal with the problem. If by God's grace, Vivi Boyka should win, or Mr. Cummings should win, or Mr. Weah should have an epiphany, and he should win, and they turn out to be the Lee Kuan Yew, yeah, then maybe things in Liberia will change. Otherwise, you need an organized effort.
I'm not here to sell any particular person, but I think, and I'm being very honest. Yeah, I support Dr. Barker. There's no question I ask. But I think if Dr. Weah was to pivot and bring other people on board, because to say that he's doing right and they're doing good, then they're fooling themselves. Because the other people are looking at the same thing you're looking at, and it's not looking good. And for people to tell you that they're doing good, then they're not serious. But I also believe that the fact that Dr. Weah is very popular among young Liberians, there's no question asked. But I think his popularity, the energy of his popularity, if there's such thing, has not been earned, rightfully, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you cannot use somebody of his stature, somebody who plays the most popular sport in the world, if you cannot utilize that person's popularity and get things from other countries to really truly help you, then I think we're not doing a very good point. So that's another launching pad. Let's bring in the international perspective now on this. With all of these things that we just talked about, I think number one on the list is corruption, which I don't believe that we can eradicate corruption. I don't think so. I don't think we can do away with it completely. But what will you think the international community part they are playing in terms of keeping this corrupt behavior going? Do you think the international community should say to people, to Liberia and the leadership, to come and do some serious auditing because they've been pumping money into the Liberian government? Or to say, if you want a certain amount of money, they're going to be setting stipulation. We're going to ask you to do X, Y, and Z in order for the people to move on. Or do you think they should just do what they continue to do? Whenever the money is there, they give them $10 million, $12 million, whatever amount they give them, without actually checking how this money is being utilized. Are they also not contributing factor in this continued corrupt behavior that our people are suffering from, Mr. Nyanue?
But let me ask you a question though, something.
Yeah.
Why should the international community do the things that you just enumerated? Why? Why should they do it?
Because they're the one, they hold the purse string.
But they're getting their money back. They're not giving it to you free.
I understand that, but
you pay the money back.
Yeah, but we all live on the same planet.
Well, but they're not living in Liberia. Even when they live in Liberia, the conditions they live under in Liberia, not the same condition you live on. The point I want to make something, and this is one of the problems in Liberia, is the dependency mentality. Liberians feel, I just saw on the line the other day, and I said, God bless them. People are excited in Liberia because they say Mr. Cummings come to the U.S. to consult with U.S. government officials. Why? Why should somebody coming to America to meet with U.S. Congress such a big deal for Liberian voters? That's how the country has been. We are so dependent. In Liberia, when small thing happen, what we're doing? We're going to U.S. Embassy. That's why we carry our complaint. We're going to European Union. That's why we carry our complaint. That's how this country has been. We say development partners in progress. Partnership means you give me, I give you. These people who call development partner, what are we giving them? Right? I mean, their companies can come and take advantage of us, but that's not something we're giving them, freely. My thing is, Liberia's redemption must be with Liberians. Like you're saying, Councillor Blonsky, a good friend of mine, again, peace be to his soul. When he and I used to consult, and you would talk about, maybe we should go to State Department. I said, no. I said, I will not go to State Department. I don't want you to go to State Department. Some people might say, you're not dealing with a reality. So be it. I think if you go to Liberia and you have a message and you have all the ingredients and you are able to get a following, significant following, the U.S. State Department will come find you. But their business that for us to solve the problem in Liberia, we need some external force. Just the other day, the EU ambassador said Morel was the deadliest city in the world. People got angry. I said, why are you getting angry? The man's right. He the one you begging for money. And he probably gave money for us to clean the city. So why would he not say Morel dead when the money is not going there to clean the city? We don't look to ourselves for solution. So our people are corrupt. What we want to do, let the US people can order them. What kind of sovereignty is that? There's no sovereignty. We're now a sovereign nation. We must get in that's what I'm saying about our road situation in the Southeast. If we in the Southeast just sit down and put our hands between our legs, then our road will remain like that. The people of Liberia must make demands on their government. And if the people are corrupt, then we must make sure that we do something about the people who are corrupt. It's not for the international community to come and say, we're going to order you, or going to do that. The international community, if they give you a grant, yeah, they will make sure the grant is fully utilized. But again, they are saying, look, we will give you a loan and you will pay us back. Chinese will say, we'll do this for you, but you will pay us back. Here is the guarantee for what we are giving you. Liberians we are too dependent on outside forces to come and redeem us. When the war was coming, the war was in Monrovia, we all ran to the U.S. Embassy for redemption, right? That was the only safe place for us to go. Every little thing in Liberia, we look into the U.S. America must do this, why? When my friend and myself talk about the war, the Americans should have sent troops there. They sent a Marine there, they would have stopped the war. Why? Why would American young people go die in Liberia? For what? And I think it's that mentality that we need to get out of. It's not America's business to save Liberia. It's not America's business to develop Liberia. It is our business. That's why people come to Liberia and they steal from us. If these companies that are coming, you think that the international community business to say your contract, you're signing the flaw or denying Liberia's interest, that the international community should do that? If we don't get in the business of saying, look, we need to use our resources more efficiently so we can develop our country, Liberia will never develop. So that's why I don't support that. As long as we don't develop the capacity to manage our own resources, it's not in anybody's interest to develop Liberia. It's not in anybody's interest to develop. What they want is to get resources from you to develop their country. That is their legitimate responsibility. The U.S. will say, how do I fully utilize U.S. tax dollar? How can I support U.S. companies? American government will say, how can I support, a company in Liberia? That's not their responsibility. So I don't support that.
Okay, folks, Samson told Liberian Public Radio, once again, as you can see, and as you've been listening, we've been at 18 now, more than an hour. And talking to Mr. Nyanue has always been a pleasure as far as I'm concerned. And I think many of you will agree with me tonight. There's a young man here that wrote how the grand jury missed electing this sound man with brilliant idea. You don't want me to tell you? Oh my goodness! But and it's not just unique in Grandview. It's not just unique in Grandview, but this is some of the things that we'll continue to talk about here. Mr. Nyanue, let's go now so that we'll try to wrap it up and bring other audience, those who perhaps want to participate in the conversation. Now you say you're going to be going home here shortly. 2020 election, senatorial election, you were involved. You were not successful. Uh, are you planning again to go for 2023 to challenge whoever is sitting in there once more?
You know something, my participation in national politics is not something that I take lightly. You know, so whether I will contest again, whether 2023 or any time in the future, is a decision that I'm carefully reviewing. I have not decided, yet whether or not I will run. I mean, I think in fact, tomorrow we're having an event here in Chicago where a lot of our supporters in the Midwest, we're calling them to say thank you to them. And a lot of them are really not even from Grand Jude, but they were, people that have known me over the years and who said, we want to support you for the race. So we're calling them tomorrow to say thank you to them. My wife and I are hosting a brunch, to say thank you to them. But that question has been put to me, I mean, I would say daily whether I'm going to run or not, but I haven't decided something whether or not I will run.
You're going to be going to Liberia, you said, and I know you will be reaching in Grangie there. The election is over, and I know you're coming now with a new perspective in terms of your involvement and your experience and looking around in Grangie. And when you go to Grangie now, what are some of the things that you will try to look for in terms of life getting better for our people, or what have you? What are some of the things that perhaps will be the first thing that you will try to gauge as a way of knowing what are things that are improving or things going backward?
Well, obviously I'm in the county, I will have conversation with people. But my focus in the county really is going to be on some of the work that I started in the county. Like I tell people, I mean, I think there were people who just misunderstood my campaign, who thought that, like everybody else, I was in it because I wanted to be senator and this and that. I mean, and I told people, look, my wife and I had decided we were coming home. And if it hadn't been for this election, they would have relocated to Liberia. So we had already started putting down roots before I decided in 2018 that I was going to run. We started a farm, and we've been investing in that farm. We got somebody living on the farm, so that's where I'm looking for really to spend a good bit of my time when I go back to make sure that the farm succeeds. During the campaign, I was telling our people the experience I had going to Grand Juda the first time after the war, that I didn't see any kind of agricultural produce on the road. Once I crossed Cester all the way to Zwedru, and then even when you pass Zwedru and you go to my side of the county towards Maryland, same thing. You don't see anything for sale, agricultural produce on the road for sale. And I know when I was growing up as a young man, I mean, where I have my farm now, that's where I grew up. And, at our farm right on the road going to Maryland, my mom always had stuff there to sell, plenty, banana, hanging up on the road. And then people coming from Conway King will stop there in the afternoon and they'll buy plenty and they'll take it. Now you don't see anything. My hope is my farm will help a little bit, that there will be something on the road that people
What
will
are some of
see.
the things you're growing on a farm?
Actually, we are growing plenty again. We will do vegetable. Right now, one of the things that I've been researching and preparing for is we're going to raise goats, and
Oh,
we have 2 acres right now that is fenced. Where we're going to grow the goats. I think they're going to finish the fence this Saturday, tomorrow, I think, or maybe sometime next week, and then we'll build a shed for the goats. So we're going to be raising goats. We're going to be, we'll have vegetables, pepper and bitter ball, because these are things that are hard to find in Zwedu,
right.
and then eventually we might, do cocoa. But right now, we're going to start with the goats and the vegetables and planting and cassava and those kind of things that grow very quickly.
I see. Okay, Mr. Nyanue, I think my sister is also warning me now because it's keep freezing out on me. So let me go ahead and put the number up and see if anybody want to be part of this conversation. If not, and that's okay, then we can have you give us your last padding statement here. I know once you what is this? Once you go to Liberia, we will do all we can to continue to be in touch with you so that we can have conversation as usual. Even I'm sure with technologies all over the world now, we can still do the same thing here. So let me just put a number up. Hopefully, people will be able to see it. And folks, if you're able to see it, give us a call, 916-533-2048. Give us a call here. Let me make sure I'm connected. And Mr. Nyanue correctly stated he will be leaving here very shortly. We thought with Ice King to be with us here again while we're all in the diaspora. And gracefully agreed to be part of this. And I want to thank him very much for this wonderful conversation. I mean, most of you that don't even know him, but when you have an opportunity to have a conversation with him, you truly enjoy it. And I know most of the young people in Liberia, specifically in Grand Gita, that was engaged with Mr. Nyanue during the campaign, clearly has a clear understanding of who Mr. Nyanue is, and I think they really, really enjoyed himself as well. Not only is he there to help, but conversation-wise, very educative. There's no question asked. So the number is out here. I hope it comes out okay right away. Let me pin it so then you can give us a call. 916-533-2048. Mr. Nyanue, while we're waiting for some call, let's just try to see if we can wrap it up here, because I know you also have things to do. So when you go now in Liberia or Monrovia or anything like that, what if you were to be asked by this government uh, to come and help with the public work ministry? Would you be willing to do something like that?
Something, I mean, it's difficult when people say come and help to say no. But, Liberia is a very interesting place because I think the mindset in Liberia is that everybody is looking for a job, you know. And that was the thing I just couldn't get out of the minds of, some of our people in the country that you're looking for a job. And then when I tell them, what, I'm not looking for a job, then even people on my team say, don't say that, But, if the government were to say, can you help in this area? Certainly, I will be more than willing to help. But,
Let me take this call. Samson to LeBron Publico, what's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
My name is Samson Mason, and I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thank you for calling, Mason. We appreciate it. Go ahead.
One thing, Mr. Nyanue expressed
Mr.
tonight
Nyanue, can you hear
that
me?
Can you hear me, Mr. Nyanue?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
One thing Mr. Nyanue expressed tonight I was delighted to hear is about this, what I call fan club term political party. And I like how he expressed it because he said that everybody centered around one person, and that is the problem we have with the CPP today. We are so accustomed of forming our political parties to make somebody president. We don't have the culture of forming political parties or for ideology, principles, characters. No, we form it because I come and say, look, I'm going to form a political party, I will be the president. So for as long as I'm alive, I am the standard bearer. That's why you can't have competition in CPP. And like you said, if Joseph Parker and Ellis Cummings were in the same political party, would they allow them to go to a convention? No, they wouldn't. Because why? You will have them still wanting to make one person the president. So they will deny other people for going to primaries and let the people, the members of the party, decide based on these guys fostering their views on the party ideology.
Okay.
That's what we have in Liberia, and it's true. Mr. Nyanue, you have really said it. Our country cannot progress because we are not opening these kind of dialogue for us to listen and choose and take a drive at the best action for our country. Our country is a country that needs we who are clean, educated people.
Okay.
They need us to stand up and do the right thing for the country to progress.
Okay, thank you, Mason. Let me take this other call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Samson told Labron Public, what's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Todd. This is Hamilton calling from Philadelphia.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I've been following your discussion. I've been very, very interesting. Mr. Nyanue, he spoke a lot, and I really admire his mind towards what we are kind of going through in Liberia. Actually, leadership deficit in Liberia is not just peculiar to Liberia. Africa as a whole. And I think we have people who are educated, but the problem is that we lack leaders who have the character. That's the problem. I think that's a key problem we have in Liberia. Character. It's not about education. It's not about experience, but it's just we have the problem with character. And come to think about it, I stated in one of my stuff. I think I made a comment concerning, dealing with the kind of leader we need in Liberia. The days of Winston Churchill and the others have gone. We're in the 21st century, and a lot of challenges that there are new challenges when it comes to what we have in the global scene. So we need a leader who is progressive, someone who knows the time, know what needs to be done, and be able to rise up to the occasion. If you are still, we are in the 21st century, you want to be a leader, and you still have those concepts, those principles from the 19th century and 18th century, you cannot tackle the challenge that we have today. So we need somebody, a new breed of leaders, some people with people that are very progressive, people that be selfless, and the focus is just the people. I made a statement on the book I read from James Collins called "Built to Last," and the concept there is that they have the track builder and they have the time killer. We need leaders who are track builder, because when you build a clock, it will not just be just about you. When you build a clock, everyone will be able to look at a clock and they'll be able to tell the time. But if you are just a leader that will just tell time, the day you leave the scene, everything will collapse. And Mr. Nyanue made reference to that. In your leadership or joining, if you come as a leader or maybe serve as a president, and then at the end of the day you build all those institutions, and then at the end of the day, when you leave the scene and collapse, then you are not doing anything. But if you want to have a sustainable institution that will continue your legacy,
right,
you made a great impact.
Okay.
But I think the problem we have in Liberia is character when it comes to leadership. Character, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother, for expressing yourself. We appreciate it. And then, folks, you can give us a call. We're only going to be here for another 3 minutes or so, and then we're going to take leave of Mr. Nyanue. Mr. Nyanue, while we are there, said, the comments so far, I don't even think anybody would disagree. I've been reading a lot of the comments here that people have been writing. But the question then for me, though, is Okay, well, before that, let's take this. Samson to LeBron Public, what's your name, where you're calling from, what's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, Mr. Toad. This is Kemo calling from Cedar Rapids. How you doing?
Well, not coming. How you doing, Chief? Thank you for joining us. What's on your mind,
Yeah,
sir?
I'm under the weather anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Let me say hi to your studio guest. I just tuned in. I don't know why I keep missing the program nowadays. But from the previous quarters, some of the things that stress that I would just like to have my voice to that is that
Yeah,
the mistake
make
that
it
have
brief.
been
Make it brief for us.
carrying our country from generation to generation.
Right.
We Liberian people, especially from our leaders have not learned anything. Even the people themselves have not really come to understand, the problem that continue to create the situation we in today. Because I heard the other caller talk about institution, the only institution instead of rallying around one person or individual.
Right.
We still continue to do the same thing, time in, time out, and time in, time out. So sometimes I sit and ask myself question. Is it because we Liberian people have just accept the fact that we cannot improve our life or we can't move forward, so we just gotta live the way we're living? Because when you look at our leadership, the Senate, the legislature, even the judiciary, they continue to do the same thing that even led to the war that we fought in Liberia. And we are not moving forward. Like the studio guest said, you're asking questions, even if they're asking to go back to Liberia to work. People have the mindset to say, oh, he's looking for a job, he's looking for a job. They are not even looking at the aspect of he being a help to them. Then another thing, how they call it, commenter, brother, is that Liberians in the diaspora here who are involved in organizations, when they're working among other nationals, they are very, very transparent. They work according to the letter. But when it comes to the Liberian organization, it's a different ball game.
Right.
So I think our mindset, there's something wrong, or fundamentally, there's something really wrong with our side that creating a problem for us.
Right.
And I'm sorry to say, it's going to take maybe another 50 years before we really understand this. Because when I say so, look at CPP. See what happened in the party. Every night they have some classes. Today I read on Facebook that when we were invited, he turned it down. And another time again, they had an issue of fingering, quote unquote, fingering people.
Right.
You look at CDC too. The other political party that involved in the coalition, somebody having problems, MPP and other stuff.
Right.
And then you look at the population, the people themselves, they are beyond politicians only because what they want to get. So what's the future for us? It's a sad thing, Mr. Toll, when you see the more national like Ghanaians or Senegalese, when they discuss in the country and they look at the development going there, you like Brent May, sitting about there, you just confused. So I don't know, like I said, maybe 50 years from now plus. Like you, Mr. Toll, before I leave the line, you, Mr. Toll, over there, you are engineer. When you bring up somebody issue to discuss it, you hear colors. You sit in America there, quote unquote, you sit in America there, you get to play that all you're good for.
Right.
Nobody want to get the idea. Nobody really want to help in the process, like people in authority.
Right.
So it's a sad situation with him, man. It's like we just circling on the same thing and we're not moving, we're not making no progress at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Nah. All right.
Thank you for the show.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Nyanue, before you leave, I think that will be the last caller. Before you leave, I always wanted to ask this question, but I don't mind asking it in public. Some time ago, you contacted me about a job offer in Liberia that was paying $10,000. I remember that. But I explained to you, even though I'm an engineer, but that part because it was in water and I'm not too much involved in that. But you didn't push it to say, Samson, you got to take it. It's good money. It was not about, you didn't even mention that. When I told you, you said, thank you, I respect that. Why didn't you push me to? Because after the conversation, I called a few other friends. But man, you stupid. That $10,000 you're gonna tell it that you engineer. You can't have what difference? You did water in school. So when you can't, but my thinking was not only because of the $10,000, but you're sending me. Let me tell you, caller here. Hello, caller. Can you just hold on 1 minute, please? Let me finish my comment here, and then we'll come to you. Okay, you know what? I'll come back to Mr. Nyanue. Go ahead and wrap it, and you're going to be our last caller. Go ahead. What's on your mind? Please make it brief.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Justino Shatige. Yeah, I call you from New York.
Okay. You're calling from where?
New York, New York.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Appreciate it.
Yeah, quickly, I just, because I listened to Mr. Nyanue presentation, which is good. I listened to the analysis, but I think it falls short with some other issues.
Okay.
The other thing is, for me, for the past since 2005, I've been actively involved in the grand gender politics. And one thing I noticed, the people always vote people based on people that always with them in terms of engagement. Mr. Nyanue was in our country from 2014 up to 2017, and up to 2020 last year, before we start seeing being visible, it comes to grand gender activities. So the people always vote people based on their engagement. So all the time he been in the country and serving at water and sewer, he was not engaged with the county activity. You were not engaged with the youth. We were in the youth and students.
But let me ask you,
we never heard the
I
name.
know where you're going with it, and I don't mean to interrupt, but let me ask you this. Do you know that Mr. Nyanue was involved in the library, in the Grand Gender Community College formulation, including the papers and everything else? Do you know that?
No, I'm aware of that, but I mean, to what extent was he engaged?
No, but if you're aware of it, then you should know.
I'm coming now. No, I'm coming.
No, hold on. No, you hold on.
No, it's about the formulation of the community college. If I say, because everyone, the formulation of the community college came from a bill from the late UG Falabaka for Olufa County, establishing the Grand Gender Community College.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that aspect. What I'm saying is, do you know that Mr. Nyanue has contribution in bringing that college to some of the areas where it is now? Do you know that?
I don't know if you talk about contribution in what aspect, in what by what means.
If you're already saying that Mr. Nyanue was not involved at all while he was in, then if you don't know his
no, but because if you say to
okay, let's make it general, Gate. Let's make it because hold on, Gate. This is not the first time that I've heard you coming here and making these kinds of statements.
No, but listen, Mr.
Hold on.
Let's set the basic.
Okay,
let's set the basic.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's set the basic.
Okay, now listen to me.
Because you use a statement.
Okay.
You use a statement. You said, Mr.
Nyanue. Do you know of Mr. Nyanue's involvement in the Grand Gender Community College?
No.
You don't know?
I don't know involvement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that, then why will you come out to say
Mr.
Nyanue
can you
was
tell
not...
me his involvement?
No, so
but something.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment?
No, because if you say, do you know?
Okay. All right,
Mr.
Gate, let me do this for you. And I don't mind that. And Mr. Nyanue, he can defend himself. He doesn't need me. But the reason why I'm interjecting, because this is not your first time. Whenever Mr. Nyanue is on here, you come out.
Let leave. Listen. Go to the issue, Mr.
Okay. So what is Mr. Nyanue?
Because
let me put it to Mr. Nyanue. Mr.
Nyanue. Here's what I would say to Mr. Shate. Justina, what his name? Shate?
Mr. Nyanue, you know, I'm not getting you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
All right. Here's what I would say to your comment. I am not complaining that I was not elected. So if the reason I was not elected was, as you say, I was not involved in the Grand Gender community, it's fair game. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I think people who came to that conclusion, I don't fault them for it. I don't agree with them, but I'm not complaining, right? So to me, that is a non-issue. It's not that I went through an election, I came out and said, oh, why they didn't elect me? I think the people have all rights to make the decision that they made. And I said, God bless them, right? So to me, it's not anything for us to argue about it. The people say, oh, we didn't know Mr. Nyanue. Oh, Mr. Nyanue, when I involved with the Grand Gender community.
I'm getting you.
You're not getting me?
Okay, can you hear me, Mr. Gay?
Yeah, I'm hearing, but I'm not ready to get you.
This is what he's saying. His point is, it's a mute argument. Because after the election, He's not coming out to complain why people didn't elect him. And if those who hold on, I'm trying to say what he said. If those who didn't come and vote for him, if they feel because he wasn't engaged, they have the right to do that. That's their right. So then if he's not complaining, then what would be your argument? What are you saying? He should have been elected, or if he has engaged people, is you're coming to argue if?
No, I listened to him. He said he provided issues to see how the country can go forward.
Okay.
In his platform.
Okay.
The other thing he raised again, he said he listened to other candidates now. They are doing like somebody cleaning the roads. Said he too also in a case. The time he started donating drugs in Grand Union County, it was the time he declared his intention to contest. So I'm just giving this
Mr. Nyanue, could you please
information.
just elaborate a little bit? Okay, let him.
That's what I'm saying.
Going to the community college issue, just that one subject matter.
No. I don't want to go into specific issue with that. Something. Here's what I want to say to the young man. I think this show is being recorded, right? I think after the show tonight, he should go on YouTube and play back. Because what I said, the comment that he referenced to, I said, even myself during the election, we give semen, we give chairs, and we give this and that, right? I said it. The point that I'm trying to make is that, and I've said it in Grand, even people on my team who are saying, oh, Mr. Nyanue, you should do this, you should do that. I said, for me, because you've established a tradition, I'm using these things as a door opener. Because once I get in town, for example, and people come and I talk to them, you don't give little money here and that. They say, oh, where did he end? So you go with a tradition. But I am saying, don't use the tradition as the end. Let it be your means to an end. So once the door opens and you get inside, then talk the substantive issue of Grand Jude. That's the point I made in the campaign. That's exactly what I said here tonight. I said, even I myself, during the campaign, will give chairs and cement and things. Because for us, instead of using them to simply to bribe people, we use them as a way to open the doors so that when I talk, at least they give me their ear. That was my strategy. Right? Okay. What I'm saying is that way of doing campaign is deceptive to our people. If that is your only goal, then it's deceptive to our people. And again, I hope the young man can hear me now. I am not complaining about anything, my friend. I think the people of Grand Jude have all right to make decisions on the basis of what they think is right. And that's what they did. So I'm not complaining.
But Mr. Nyanue, Mr. Gay, I'm going to say thank you very much for your comment. We're closing, Mr. Gay. Thank you very much, because first thing is this, and I'm not going to hide it from you.
But let's get it clear, because so you never make any issue clear about the community college stuff, because that community college formulation.
I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah, it was done by the lawmaker of Lofa County.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gay. And this is what I'm going to say to this young man. This is not his first time, Mr. Nyanue, and that's what really tipped me off on this here. This is not the first time. And let them go live with themselves. If they think what they have right now in Grand Jude County is better, so be it. It's raining right now, and their parents, their family member cannot even move. And these are some of the things some of us were saying on their radio station. It's not that we hate certain people, but these are kinds of young people who goes around because of their little college education, whatever it is, they go and believing that they can persuade the other people and believe what exactly that he wants you to do. Because when you say, if these people are giving couple, if they're giving couple rights, if they're giving bathtub, is that how you're supposed to run the election? Is that when people talk about it, then you're going to come here? And this is not the first time. And I didn't recognize, because if I were to recognize his number, I wasn't going to even take it. First thing,
no.
I told myself the last time he was here, he tried to bring it on. But this time, it fooled me. I didn't get his number. But anyway, thank you, Mr. Nyanue. Let's go back to this point here that I was making. And when I call people and explain to them, well, you're a fool. Why didn't you take the job? $10,000 a month. That's a lot of money in Liberia. But you didn't say that. You didn't say go for it, do X, Y, and Z. When I explained to you, you said okay, and that was it. Why didn't you push me?
Well, before I answer your question, Samson, let me just give you an advice. This is your show, so obviously you run it the way you want to run it. Me, I don't get offended by these young people doing some of what you talk about tonight, with this young man. I think, as long as they are respectful and they're not insulting anybody, I think they can say whatever they want to say, and we can have a dialogue. Obviously, if the dialogue, is getting unproductive, then you have to discontinue it. But for me, someone who would say, oh, Nyanue didn't do this and Nyanue didn't do that, I think it's their right. They should say so. And if the majority of people believe them, then the majority of people will act on them. And then I say, God bless them. That's what I say to them. I don't feel entitled to anything in Nigeria or Liberia. I don't feel entitled to anything. I think I will make my case. And if the majority say we agree with Mr. Nyanue, then they'll come with me. If the majority say no, we don't agree with Nyanue, then they'll go with where they want to go. To me, that's how I look at it. But on your question, here's what I think about it, something. And I think you know me enough. Because for me, when it comes to professional work, the way I judge you has nothing to do with our relationship. If you had taken the job and you did not perform, and if I had anything to do with it, you will get fired. Right? So once you tell me, Mr. Nyanue, no, this is not my, this is not my interest right now, then I have to respect that. Because if I push you into it, and for whatever reason you are not able to deliver what you're supposed to deliver, then it's my fault. And then I might feel guilty if you're taking, if you have to leave the job. So that's why I didn't push you, because I know you're an intelligent person. You know your circumstances better than I do. So I will not push you. And then, it'd be interesting. Somebody else from California, that I talked to took the job, and then they did an excellent job. So I can encourage people, but your own circumstances better than I do. So I have to respect that. I don't want to pressure you into something. That was why I didn't push it.
Thank you. There's somebody here that's watching the show who I've had that conversation with, and of course, they respect my view as well. But that's who I am. If I know, I know myself. In these kinds of engineering business, you have to do it knowing fully what that you can produce, because it's not something that you can bluff your way through.
Exactly.
It's a result oriented program, and you can't come in because of and the fact that I know it was a lot of money, $10,000 a month in Liberia. I mean, that was a lot of money. I could have, but it would have been messy. Even though I'm a civil engineer graduate, I've done water and everything else. But water was after graduation. I've spent years in roadway design, and for me to now go into water, yeah, I can try to read and bring, but it might not. The people, I don't know what the time. Well, I know what the time constraint was, and there was no room for learning on the job, and I didn't want to put myself in a situation where then I will become embarrassed to say I can't produce on time. Eventually, if I were to stay there, they said, "Well, you just stay, employ you for whatever time." I was going to make it. I mean, I left structure, and I went to roadway. So it wasn't some kind of small transition. Okay, so I can do that, but the fact that one of the things that I have, and one of the reasons why I respect you the most, is that you didn't push the fact that we're friends and we're from the same area. You didn't say go ahead, do X, Y, and Z, and the fact that you respected my decision. I talked to my wife, and she said that's a good thing you did. So what the other people, other family member, friends, you should think that doesn't matter. But I thought I'd bring it up because this particular person is watching, and I wanted them to understand why and how it happened. So thank you for the clarification. So anyhow, Mr. Nyanue, we've been out here now for 2 hours almost. So, is there any parting statement here? And because I know I will try my best to get you while you're in Monrovia, of course. But is there a parting statement before we take leave of you tonight?
Well, first of all, again, I'd just like to say thank you for having me on your show. Like I said, I think this is either the third or the fourth time that I've been on, and I just appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts on a lot of things because all of us Liberians want what is best for Liberia. And even during my own campaign, that was the song that I was singing. For me, the best way to get maximum results is to have competition of ideas. So I don't close my mind to people's maybe even disagreement. That I think I'm blessed to be able to listen to you, even if I don't agree with you, to analyze what you're saying. And then if it makes sense, if the idea is better than mine, I will definitely support it. We want what is best for Liberia. It's just unfortunate that we have a situation where everybody is thinking job. Instead of thinking, how do we make Liberia better? Everybody is thinking job. So even when you're saying something, they say, oh, and again, I mean, they're right to say so, because those of us in the diaspora, that's what we do. We want a platform from which we can speak so that they hear us in Liberia so that we can get government job. So even if you are not that type of person, people assume that you are that type of person. So I perfectly understand. But, I really pray, that Liberia will get better. And it's not about criticizing anybody. It's not, for me, there's nothing personal in this thing. I tell people when I graduated from the University of Liberia, Water and Sewer sponsor us in I think our second or third year engineering school. I think we were 3 or 4. And they sponsor us under the condition that after graduation, we'll go work for them. After graduation, I had an offer to be an assistant minister at rural development. I was actually taken to rural development to be an assistant minister. And then when we came out of the minister office, the person who told me, I told them I didn't want a job. And they were angry with me. They were angry with me until the last time I saw them before the war. They were still angry with me that I didn't take it. For me, it's not about job. For me, it's not about job. Here we are in the diaspora. Why are we in the diaspora? Like you're saying something. Here you make money. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you live, God, I thank God every day. I was able to send my kids to college. They're doing well. They're on their own. I mean, every now and then I beg them for money now, But why? Why are we here and spending our energy and our intellect in the diaspora? When I came to graduate school here, I graduated, I think, in May. And I think by June or so, I was back in Liberia. I had no intention to stay here. I wanted to go back home and contribute. Why is it that we cannot create the conditions in our individual countries for us to stay? I mean, that is the question. It's not about jobs. It's how can we make Liberia a better place? How can we make Africa a better place? Look at the amount of Africans here in the diaspora. Look at the amount of Africans that die every year trying to cross over to Europe. Why? In fact, I think maybe 2014 or 2013, we heard, on the news that a guy from one of the West African countries, he was in Europe. They wanted to send him back to his country. He set himself on fire. He rather died than to come back. Why? To me, that is the question. So we need to debate ideas, not personalities. And Liberian politics is notorious for focusing on people. So you guys are doing an excellent job. I think you should use your platform so that we can hear ideas, not people. How do we make Liberia better? When I was campaigning in Grand Juda, that was what I did. I tried to say, this is how we can make Grand Juda better. Here's the problems we have here. And here's what I think we need to do to make them better. I didn't care so much about individuals, And if we don't get out of that individual mode, of making everything personal, then our best may never rise to the top. So again, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. Continue to bring good people on your show, and let's hear ideas how we can make Liberia and Nigeria better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. That's the voice of Mr. William Nyanue. And Mr. Nyanue, we want to thank you very much for taking your time to be our guest here tonight and giving us some wonderful, wonderful idea. We'll say thank you very much, and we'll say good night to you as well.
Good night.
Again, folks, SAMSON told the young man that called earlier, I just want to let you know, you heard Mr. Nyanue, this is not personal. He didn't care why people did, but these are some of the things that we're talking about. You wanted Mr. Nyanue to run around with you guys as an individual. Does that if he didn't run with you, that means his idea it's not good? You want them to go, you want him to start buying baby top and giving you a cup of rice? Is that what you want? You can be serious. Every time you come, I know your number not coming. Anytime you come on, because this is a platform where we allow you to express yourself. But you cannot come out here and try to bring these kinds of ideas that people are trying to get out of. We're doing our best to bring people how we will move this country forward. Then you sitting down here, or when you were there, you didn't associate yourself with a student. Do you know what you're talking about? Or because he didn't come out and buy you a bag of rice? Now you're here. Now go back and go buy a bag of rice now. My goodness. Anyway, folks, SAMSON told Liberia Public Radio. I know many of you are not disappointed tonight to get Mr. Nyanue ideas and what have you. But then in every bunch, we have one or two. And this is one of them here tonight because he has done this many times. And I've warned him. I warned him, if you come out here, this is a platform. I don't profess myself to be highly educated, or I don't even know book. I don't even finish high school. So I'm not educated. I don't know book. But you can't come out here when many people, other people from other counties coming out here to express ideas, how they can move Liberia forward. Then your idea, you want to tie it around the man should come out and associate himself with you and the student of Liberian University. University of Liberia. Wait a minute. I want to put in online, telling the thing I used to tell him. The man, you know, our own air. You calling me, y'all hold on, my people, y'all hold on. Hello, SAMSON to Liberia Public Radio. Why are you calling and what's on your mind? Can you hear me?
And for SAMSON to repair that bridge around the corner.
You think SAMSON to engineer for you? What wrong with you? What wrong with you? What wrong with you? You think SAMSON to engineer for you? Folks, this is one of the best friends that I have. We've been friends from ever since elementary. You sure? That graduate people pay my school fee? What wrong with you? You know I pay my own school fee? What wrong with you? Okay, okay, but bro, you heard Mr. Nyanue. Were you able to listen to Mr. Nyanue?
Yes, when that ball was talking, I see you're talking out of crap.
Exactly. we don't use those kind of granular language on the kind of platform. We try to speak good English. Don't come bring your fire core English on here. I beg you.
Yeah, thank you. I watch.
But anyhow, this is what we have from about people. Sometimes people will come and try to say something after Mr. Nyanue finished demonstrating how brilliant he is. Then this young man coming, but why you? When I'm part of you associate yourself with that your graduate university student that either one that. Nah, big. But anyway, brother, Mr. Soba, let me close this show. But thanks for calling.
Okay, I'll call you tomorrow.
When you call me tomorrow, you
the same time.
When you call me tomorrow, you remember where Ramsey told Conway, right? You remember that?
Ramsey, John Ramsey.
Yeah, you know what he told Conway, right? When Kanye woke him up that money.
What your ball is. Hey.
He said, you good thing you senator. Because if you're not senator, I will go to whoop your butt this month. Turn it, come wake people up. But anyway, yeah, give me a call tomorrow, Isaac. Thank you very much.
Okay, say hi to the family.
I will. Thank you very much.
Okay, good night.
This is the Isaac Soba, a good friend of mine. We've been friends for a very long time. When we were growing up in Zwadru, let me just tell you a little story about him and another friend who already passed. Bunny Breathe. It was Isaac Soba, Bunny Breathe, myself. Very little. I was very small boy. But we used to go behind it. We go to no, who didn't want to what I said calling again for? I said, Soba, what are you calling again for? But anyway, folks, so we go out, and I used to climb the palm tree behind the cattle mission over there, and I would throw the palm seed down. So they collect them, and they wait until I get done, then we share. But by the time I come, they finish all the thing. I climb the tree. Then what's about me? They say go buy again. I'm gonna go buy again, throw it down, say I'll finish eating it. So what I used to do, I had when I'm going up, I take another shirt of t-shirt or whatever, wrap it around, put all the seed here, then I come down with it. Then we share. Again, folks, Samson told La Bropo, I just thought I'd share that with you. But I want to thank all of you again tonight for tuning in. I mean, this is a Friday, and thank to Mr. Nyanue for sharing a brilliant ideas. Again, these are things. It's not just Liberia. I mean, not just Grand Gide, but these things that we need to move the country forward. Grand Gide can never be, unless it's a country by itself, but it can never be fully developed if Liberia is not developed. Look at the road situation we have over there. It's just not it's just not the way it's supposed to be. Okay, and so. Yeah, another one here. Yeah, another one. Yeah, another power business. He's telling me now. Let me read it. Your time will soon be over. Yeah, another one. You know who the person is? That is CEO of LPR. He threatened the man who's sitting, the guy who watching here tonight. You're watching me. My CEO said, my time will soon be over. Your time will soon be over. I mean, by the time I get off this phone, you will call me and say you fire me. You can fire me 4 or 5 times a day. But that's okay. We're here. But anyway, folks, on a very serious note, I want to thank you guys very much. And please stay safe out there. Please stay safe out there. It's very important that you stay safe. Tomorrow morning, I'll put a show together, and it's about road and engineering. And I'll try to see some of the fixes of that road. And hopefully people, and I'll try to do it so that people in Liberia will be able to watch. Because you can't wait to say we're going to wait until this road is paved. Fix it now. Fix it now. And those people that build that road, like Mr. Nyanue was saying, you have what you call import and borrow. You go somewhere when your road go like this. When I do like this, that's a valley. And you want to fill it up. So they go on a hillside, borrow from there. They get the good dirt. Clean the area up, get a good dirt and fill it in. But when you fill in, you don't just fill it in and leave it. You fill a little bit, then you your count tomorrow and can't wash. Because from the countryside, you will surely enjoy the show tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I will try and come out here and do a program. So I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much. And I'll say good night to all of you. Thank you, Mr. Nyanue. We appreciate it. And if you're in Liberia, we'll do all we can to reach you from time to time. Good night, folks.
Around the waterside, Kinjimi, around the waterside. Lovely fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. Kinjimi, around the waterside. Lovely fish, we get them every day. Kinjimi, around the waterside. Lovely fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get a bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. So if you wanna get a bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. Kinjimi, around the waterside. Lovely fish, we get them every day. Kinjimi, around the waterside. Lovely fish, we get them every day. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. So if you wanna get your bonga fish, you better take a walk to the waterside. Kinjimi bonga sweet, Kinjimi bonga sweet. Namli get our fish, bongo tanga bongo ilo, semwe tanga kia fish, Jubail get